I'm so excited for today. Have you ever put something together and you're like, you just can't wait to share it in Christmas? By the way, comment in the chat. Let us know where you're watching this from. When Christmas comes around with my kids, even though they're older now, 22 and 25, I always wanted to give the present early. And so today, a couple things. First and foremost, I'm going to give you the 5 things that you need to have in place to identify, attract, and onboard new clients. If you don't have these 5 things working in alignment with one another, you're going to have a problem. And once you know and understand these 5 things, you'll be able to identify the problem and self-correct. So that's the first part of this masterclass. Secondly, I'm going to show you how the first 5 or the 5 things, TABS, TTABS, tactic, technique, attitude, behaviors, and strategies, how they work together specifically with LinkedIn events. So this is actually kind of a double masterclass for you. So stay tuned, engage throughout, and stay to the end because I have something special for you. Ready to rock and talk about today. We're going to talk about how to scale your business with LinkedIn events. And this has changed my life, as you'll find out as I talk about this. When I first got into sales, long time ago, over 25 years ago, I was the absolute worst salesperson in the world. In my mind, I was 119 out of the 119 sales reps. And I had a boss who became my mentor, Ken Upton. And he sat me down. He had me over for his house, or to his house for dinner one night. And afterward, he brought me into his den. There was a fire in the fireplace in Northern California. And he sat me down and he said this. He said, "Chaz, are you sick and tired of being sick and tired?" Now, I was 24 years old at the time. And so I'm like, sick and tired of being sick and tired. He goes, "You're not making any sales. This is 100% commission. Are you sick and tired of not making any money?" And I was like, yes. And he said 3 words that changed my life. "You can be," followed by the top salesperson in the company, but just someone speaking to me who I looked up to. And at that moment, he became my boss. He was transitioned from boss to mentor. And he said, "You can be the top salesperson in the company, but you got to follow the system. You got to follow the process." He said, "Chaz, we have spent lots of time, many hours developing this system and process. So if you follow it, you're going to get results. If you don't, you're going to keep getting the results that you're getting now." Definition of insanity: keep doing the same thing and expecting different results. So because of that, way back then when I was 24, that system and process has really been drilled into my mind. Now, fast forward to 2016, when I started my business, I have a sales background. And so I started my business with the hopes of helping people decrease their sales cycle. As Kelly was saying, alluded to, my clients reduce their sales cycle by 50% and helping them increase their closing percentage. On average, 19% my clients increase their closing percentage. But what I found out real quick was the problem my prospects had was they weren't able to fill the top of their funnel with leads. I don't even like using the word leads, qualified prospects. And I'll talk about why I don't like the word leads. Everyone defines it differently. I'll get into that a little bit later. They didn't have a predictable way to identify and attract prospects to them. And so I had spent a lot of time on LinkedIn previously. I had used LinkedIn when I was a national sales manager years before starting my business to help our sales staff that I managed to reduce their cold calls. I literally spent, since I've been on LinkedIn, over 19,000 hours on LinkedIn. I've sent out 400,000 messages. That's not a hyperbole. Okay. So what did I learn? Spending all that time sending out all those direct messages. I didn't want to spend 19,000 hours sending out direct messages. I wanted to have a system and process in place that didn't waste my time or my client's time. I mean, give me a yeah in the chat if you're doing a lot of activities, but you're not getting results. Okay. I created a system and I created a process that worked, but it had its limitations. Little to zero leverage. I was going with a demographic search, demographic target market, meaning, okay, a founder in a certain industry with a certain size company in a certain geographic area. I was doing this with LinkedIn through Sales Navigator. Sales Navigator is a premium subscription on LinkedIn where you could do demographic searches. And I was sending out 100 connection requests a day. You can't do that anymore. And I was using the law of reciprocity within my messages, and I would do a survey. It was pretty systematic and simple, and it worked. It got qualified meetings, but there wasn't leverage. If you're using a demographic search to find people like Zoom Info or LinkedIn Sales Navigator, you know, to get the person in the industry with the size company and the geographic area, 3% or less of those people are ready to make buying decisions. 3% or less. So here I was, I got something that was working. I developed a 6-figure business within the first 12 months. I was burned out. I was getting sick of sending out message after message after message. And if you all have done that, put a Y in the chat if you send out a lot of messages but you're still struggling with it. I have a whole training on messages. It's important, but messages should be something you utilize when people already see you as an authority. They have confidence in you. We're going to talk about that in a little bit. All right. So I developed a system and process that leveraged talking to an audience as opposed to going one-on-one. When you are in front of an audience of people, that gives you leverage. It gets you an opportunity for people to know you, like you, trust you, and then the conversations after the event are seamless. 78% of marketers, this is through Event Industry Statistics, Zippia 2023, 79% of marketers generate sales through events. Additionally, 85% of these marketers also agree that events lead to an increase in lead generation and sales. This is the part that I really want you to pay attention to. Therefore, events not only generate sales, but also have the most potential to generate more sales. So what I developed is it's my system and process that with these 5 things, TABS, Chaz, TABS is spelled with 1 T, not my tabs. Okay. TABS. If you aren't identifying and attracting people to you and onboarding new clients in a predictable way, I guarantee you it's going to be because of one or more of these 5 areas. Let me break this down for you. Okay. T is for tactic. Tactic is easy to duplicate, like me going to Sales Navigator and sending out a bunch of messages. It's easy to duplicate. You need to have a tactic in place. It's what you do. Sun Tzu, military genius. He wrote the book Art of War. He said this about tactics. He said, tactics without strategy is the noise before defeat. I was getting pretty defeated sending out all these messages. Yes, I had a business, but I had reached a ceiling. And plus my clients, they were following the process, the system, and the tactics within the direct messages, and it was helping them. It was getting a way to get meetings scheduled predictably, but they can only reach a certain level. But you have to have a tactic. It's what you do. Okay. Easy to duplicate, as I mentioned, Sales Navigator. Okay. Technique. How you do what you do. How many people have been in a retail store before and a sales clerk walks up to you? What does that sales clerk walk up to you and say? May I help you? And what do you say? Just looking. Why? Why do you say that? Why do you lie to that poor sales clerk? Because you don't want to be sold. So that is she's using a tactic that's been done that everybody is used to doing. And imagine if the sales clerk did this. She understood technique, she understood tactics, and she understood her audience. People care about who? Themselves. So you got to speak to people based on what's important to them, but you need to utilize psychology. So imagine this. You walk into my store. Welcome to Chaz's retail store. I'm sure you're here just looking, right? I just took that away from you. I'm sure you're here just looking. That's a pattern interrupt. That's a technique. Would you be against me showing you how I can save you 43%? Okay. Which one are you going to respond to as opposed to react? React, if a doctor gives you medication because you're sick and your body reacts, not good. Okay. Respond, a doctor gives you medication, your body responds, that is good. Same if someone walks up to you and said, can I help you? Just looking. Are you guys starting to get this? Are you starting to understand the technique, human psychology, pattern interrupt, and going for no? Are you against me showing you how I can save you 43%? I mean, who would be against that? Okay. So that's a technique. Attitude. All right. And I'm not talking about having a tude. I'm talking about your mindset, your perspective, how you look at things. Your perspective can be a springboard that takes you into your potential, or it can be an anchor that keeps you stuck in mediocrity. You have to believe in your product. You have to believe in yourself. And at the core of your success is your mindset. Why do I put attitude instead of mindset? Because it would be TTABS and that would be TTABS. It wouldn't be tabs. It's about keeping tabs on what's not working so you can identify it and then correct it quickly. Okay. So you want to have an attitude, a perspective, a mindset that's a springboard. You want to have an attitude that communicates you have confidence in what you do. You are excited about your product, your service, your solution. Make sense? All right. Behaviors. We all have to take action. We have to do behaviors, and we have to take those behaviors and those actions that move the needle. When I say move the needle, I'm talking about if you do 10 of this, if Kelly's reaching out to 10 people versus cold calls or direct messages or events, you should know if I do a certain amount of these behaviors, it's going to lead to a certain result. Okay. You have to know what the behavior is, and you have to know how many of those to get the result that you want. Okay. Strategy. This is the thing I was missing out on. And people in sales, if you all are in sales, have a sales background, I am one of you, by the way. Salespeople can be the worst marketers. I say that coming from a sales background. I've learned marketing and I understand the importance and the power of marketing, spending a lot of time, but the strategy goes to the heart of what marketing is. Sun Tzu, remember I talked about him with tactics? He said tactics is the noise before defeat. He said this about strategy. Strategy is the slowest route to victory. Without a strategy without tactics is the slowest route to victory. You need the tactic, you need the strategy, you need to have the behaviors, and you need to have the right attitude and the mindset. Okay. So when you have tabs, tactic, technique, attitude, behaviors, and strategy working incongruent with one another, it works. Are you starting to pick up the 5 things? Tactic, technique, attitude, behavior, and strategy. By the way, if you'd like to connect with me, reach out to me on LinkedIn, send me a direct message, or right below my profile photo, there's a place you can schedule and get a sales and marketing analysis. It will only take 20 minutes. Go to my profile on LinkedIn, reach out to me, send me a message, or schedule a time, and I look forward to talking with you. Now, important, coming up, I'm going to show you how we take those 5 things and apply them in real life within LinkedIn events. So stay tuned. So as I worked through this process, I had an aha moment, a light bulb moment. And I thought, wow, I can actually reach a group of people as opposed to going one-on-one. How cool would that be? So let me walk you through the tabs within events, and then I'm going to get into some practical information. Please take notes. This is going to be an event that's about events that if you take notes and you execute on what you learned, you can get results today if you execute on what you learned today. All right. I encourage you to take action. So the tactic is LinkedIn events. It's anyone could do an event, but what type of event are you going to do? Is it going to attract people? Is it going to repel people? Are you going to hold people's attention? So that's the tactic. Technique. When I invite people to events, a lot of time I say, would you be against me sending you an invitation to an event? Just by doing that, more people are likely to say, well, in this case, no, I wouldn't be against it. If you go for no, people are more likely to say yes. Okay, attitude. I have confidence. You should have confidence in your solution, in your product, your service. And so you need to go into events knowing and understanding that you have something to deliver to help people. You are there to identify. This is going back to strategy. You can't have a strategy if you don't understand the core problem of your target audience. Okay. The core problem of your target audience. They have a core problem. And when you know and understand that core problem and you speak to it in a way that's educational, inspirational, and entertaining, you're going to connect with them in an emotional way. When you connect with them in an emotional way, they're going to have a bond with you. They're going to start seeing you, knowing you, liking you, trusting you, and most importantly, key distinction in 2023 and beyond, they'll start to see you as an authority. Okay. So the behavior. When I first started doing events, I was doing 1 event a week, as opposed to 100 connection requests a day. Okay. Even though you can't do 100 connection requests a day. So do you want to do 1 event where you're speaking to 25 people? Like my clients first start doing it, it's like 5 or 8 people. Okay. You start somewhere, but 5 or 8 people, as opposed to one-on-one, where you have no influence, where they don't see you as an authority. And sometimes, if you're just reaching out cold, you could be seen as an irritation or a pest. How many people have been pitched on LinkedIn? Okay. Me, multiple times each day. Okay. That's an irritation. Okay. Strategy. With events, you leverage the events to speak to a group of my or your target audience, building confidence in their mind. So they see me, they see you as being able to solve their problem. Okay. As opposed to a cold outreach, just one-on-one. They're like, what's this Chaz guy or Kelly girl? What's she sending me this message talking about this? I don't even know who she is. She's connecting with me and pitching, disconnect. All right. So LinkedIn events. Why? Leverage. Leverage. You want leverage. When you have leverage, you have people's attention. When you use leverage, you have the most important commodity because you can hold people's time and attention. They did a survey a few years back. They said humans have less than an attention span of a goldfish. I think that's 9 seconds. Now, I don't know how they were able to scientifically judge a goldfish. Does a goldfish have a squirrel moment? I don't know. But anyway, the point is people's attention span is less and less and less. as we get more advanced and more bombarded with tens of thousands of messages each and every day. Is this starting to make sense to you? So stay tuned. Reach out to me on LinkedIn, Chaz Horn. Stay tuned. There's more. All right. So LPC, leverage, positioning, conversion. So let me show you something on my whiteboard here, and tell me if you can hear me okay, Kelly. So as I look on my whiteboard here, this is Prospect Avenue, okay? This is leverage. I'm going to address this. This is your positioning, your profile, and this is sales. This is where conversions happen. All right. So this 12-year-old Girl Scout was not like your normal Girl Scout who went door to door to door. No leverage there. I don't know about you. If someone rings your doorbell or knocks on your door today, I was just talking with my clients in the Q&A session about 2 hours ago. What do you usually do? Like, look out your window. Who is that at my door? 20 years ago, if someone knocked at the door, like, hey, who's here? Nowadays, it's like, it's an interruption if someone rings your bell or knocks on your door. So this Girl Scout wasn't like your normal Girl Scout going door to door. No leverage there. She understood these three things, or she was taught by one of her parents who understood business and marketing and sales. She didn't go in front of like heavy traffic where her clients were. Like Girl Scouts sometimes will hang out in front of a grocery store. Well, people just bought cookies. Sometimes people will buy cookies because of the brand. I don't have the Girl Scout brand. You most likely don't have the Girl Scout brand. So what did she do? She understood her core audience's needs and wants. Well, not wants. We're talking about Girl Scout cookies, right? Or yeah, not needs, wants. She went where she understood their wants. And so she positioned herself, leverage positioning with leverage in front of a cannabis dispensary. 1 hour later, 117 boxes of Girl Scout cookies were sold. 117 boxes, because people were most likely coming out of there hungry for something that wasn't healthy. So, Chaz, I'm not going to sell Girl Scout cookies. Chaz, I'm not going to be in front of a cannabis dispensary. I get that. But the principles of leverage, positioning, and conversion, when you get this, it will dramatically change how you do business, and you will be able to identify and attract people to you. So Prospect Avenue. Does anybody want to guess what Prospect Avenue is on LinkedIn? I just made up Prospect Avenue, but take a guess what you think Prospect Avenue might be. This is where everyone's posts content. You have a poll, you have a written post, you have a video post. And yes, this is a street. These signs are in the middle of the street. You'll just have to go with my artwork, okay? In the 4th grade, you may not realize this, but I won the first place for drawing Peter Rabbit. And then afterwards, I had reached the top and I put down my easel and my crayons. And so I'm just now getting back to my artwork and improving on that. So you have a written post, a poll, a video. And when you put out content that speaks to your target audience's problem, and you do it in a way that's inspirational, entertaining, educational, you gain leverage. And when you have leverage because of content, meaning a post, okay, where do people go? People will go from the post and they'll go to your profile. Your profile is where you are positioned. And when your profile is set up correctly, like a landing page, meaning people can go there, click on a link, schedule a meeting with you. When they go to your profile and it's in alignment with your content, it speaks to the core problem of your target audience and it solves their problem. I call it Sunday. So Monday is when Sunday evening becomes Monday in your prospect's mind, because the weekend is ending and they start to think about the problems that they had last week and the week before and the month before and the quarter before. Your prospects have problems. They have challenges. And you got to be able to identify them or you're going to miss the mark. When you identify and speak to them, just like that Girl Scout with 117 boxes of Girl Scout cookies sold, you're going to be very attractive to your prospects. They're going to want to talk to you because they'll see you as an authority. Okay. So all of these things here with content is it leverage. It takes people to where you are positioned, your profile. They see you as an authority. Okay. Prospect Avenue, take you to your profile. They see you as an authority. They have confidence. Now, one isn't labeled down here, and this is events. Events, you have the leverage and positioning all in one. And so typically written posts, they go here, and then they go here. This is a sales funnel, by the way. Conversion. Conversion is meeting. Conversion is meeting into client. So you have a prospect, you convert them into a meeting, and then you convert them into a client. On an event, you go directly to conversion. At the end of this conversation, I'm going to invite you in for a strategy session. And a number of you, hopefully, if you want to improve your sales, say, yes, I want to do that. So right now, we're having an event here, talking about events. This gives you leverage and positioning, and when done right, it will lead to conversions. Okay, make sense, everybody?
Hey,
So
Chaz,
now,
for
yes.
a moment, can you make your screen live with the whiteboard instead of the PowerPoint so we can see the details?
Oh, thank you so much for saying that, because I meant to do that. Hold on a second. How come it's saying new share? Hold on a second. Stop share. We had this problem last time. Hold on a second. Can you stop? Oh, here we go. All right. Thank you, Kelly. Because I was, okay. Where was I talking? Can you see my whiteboard better now? I can't hear you. You're muted. All right.
Yes, and if people go to the speaker view, they'll see it even larger.
Yeah, if you go to speak, thank you, Kelly. I appreciate that. That's why you're here. I would have been doing that. People are like, what does he have up there? I don't know what he's talking about. All right, Prospect Avenue. This is where the people are posting content. Profile positioning, okay. Written post, poll, video, and then this is what I was talking about on the events. Typically, the content will drive people to your profile because that's leverage. Your profile is positioned, speaking to their main problem. They see you as an authority, have confidence. Okay. The event takes people directly to conversion for meetings and then meetings to clients. Typically with content is going profile, then they schedule a meeting, and then it's over into sales. All right. Thank you, Kelly. I appreciate that. All right. Now my board just got messed up. Okay, here we are. All right. So back to the types of events you can do on LinkedIn. Yeah, don't worry about interrupting me. If you see something I'm doing or shouldn't be doing, please let me know. Thank you so much. All right. So 4 types of lives. You have a standard live video like Facebook Live. With LinkedIn Live, you have to have a streaming service like there's Restream or StreamYard. They don't have like on Facebook, you just put Facebook Live and you go live. You have to schedule through the events, which we're going to talk about here. I mean, you can do it like kind of like on demand. You have audio events. How many people are familiar with LinkedIn audio events? And tell me, Kelly, because I'm curious what people say. Just put a Y in the chat if you're familiar with them, or an N in the chat if you're not. I'm just curious what type of feedback we got here from people. No, 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 no. Yes, Paula, thank you. No, no. So there's a lot of no's on here. Okay. So think of Clubhouse. I should ask you, how many people are familiar with Clubhouse? Clubhouse started, and the idea with Clubhouse was it's just an audio room. Okay. So an audio event is you have a virtual room and it has your little circles from your profile picture, and people enter this audio room and you have a conversation. I have it highlighted because it's my favorite event, because I connect with more people in a much quicker way than I would through any of the other events. Okay. It's a great way. You have to have, I'm showing my clients how to use audio events, and I was asking them in my Q&A just a couple hours ago. Okay. I was saying, oh, Jerome, you have to have an audio event Friday. What's your thought process going through your mind? He's like, well, I'm ready. I have experience, but I just need to think about what I'm going to talk about. Audio events is the most powerful conversations happen when you have people on stage. There's a virtual stage, and they start asking you questions, and you respond, and you build a following there. Okay. So standard live video, audio events. Hopefully I explained that. And we're going to do some Q&A at the end. We can talk more about that. A virtual Zoom. This would be an example. You can schedule an event for a Zoom on LinkedIn, and then you can use LinkedIn events to schedule an in-person meeting. Okay. So this is what I want you to think about. You have two lakes. Okay. You have one lake where it's crowded. The fish are your prospects, by the way, and you have a lot of other people out there. This is your competition. They're all fishing. Your lines are getting tangled and you're not catching anything. You're hot, sweaty. You're getting a little frustrated, maybe a little bit angry. And so this would be one lake. Okay. This is if you're just reaching out people cold without any leverage. Okay. A lot of people are doing that because tactics are easy to duplicate. Now think about this. Go to your own lake. It's you by yourself with the fish are your prospects. There's nobody else there. There's just you and your prospects, and you have a bait because you know the fish and you know the bait that the fish like, your prospects. And so you can, with leverage, without competition, speak directly to your target audience. Which lake would you want to be in? A, crowded lake, or B, the other lake? Lake B is what we're going to talk about right here with events. Okay. Now I'm going to jump in 3 simple ways, because you may think, hey, Chaz, I've done an event before, but no one showed up. So how do I build an audience? Great question. Here are 3 ways to build an audience for lives on LinkedIn. First and foremost, remember I was talking about back here with leverage with content. You still should have content going out. So when you have content that speaks to your target audience's main need, where do they go? They will go to your profile. And so I bought this domain and B2B clients now. And so if you type that in, it goes to a landing page that's tied into my events. So not only are they going to my profile, they're also going to my profile because of my content. I have their attention and they're like, oh, okay, well, I kind of like that post. It made some sense. I'm going to check out his audio event. So simply by having this set up like this, people can go and they can click on this and go directly to scheduling or being part of your event. Okay, so that's one thing, having it set up on your profile. I have put a link here that would go to my events here, but I just changed it because I'm split testing something right now. Okay. Second, poll. The cool thing about a poll is polls have like 4 times more engagement than any other type of content on LinkedIn. Sometimes I'll talk to people and they're like, Chaz, I don't like polls. I go, you don't need to like them. They're effective. Okay. So in this poll, Dan, let me speak to this because it's so important. When you have marketing, you have to speak to people at a fourth grade level, not because they're idiots. Dan Kennedy, the godfather of marketing, this is what he said, fourth grade level, because you want to get their attention. It's not about having verbose vocabulary. It's about speaking to people quickly because their attention span, we talked about 9 seconds in the feed on Prospect Avenue, it's a lot less than that. So LinkedIn is where I blank, okay? LinkedIn is where I waste too much time, grow my business, hope to grow my business. So think about this. I help people grow their business on LinkedIn. And so if I look at these, here's 29 here, and then 45 here, if I've already gone through this list before, and there's about 30 people in here that are in my demographic, okay, meaning a founder has their own business in my geographic area, in the industry that I serve. And in the 29, there's about 15 of them here. So 35 people are not only in my demographic, because they took my poll and saying, I want to grow my business, or I hope to grow my business, they're putting their hand up, and especially the ones that say hope to grow my business, they're putting their hand up and they're moving themselves from being a demographic to psychographic, not psycho. Psychographic is like, I have a need and I think you can solve my problem, or this is the need that I have. They've self-identified by having a poll. You are creating a psychographic prospect list, people who have a need that you can solve because your poll is set up in a simple way. Okay. So LinkedIn polls is another way. Event page. This is really powerful here. All of these are powerful. I'm having an event tomorrow. Why it's essential to develop ChatGPT skills in sales. And right now I have 45 people attending, well, 46 attending, and it's very easy. I can invite 1,000 people a week to the event. I can select the industry that I want, okay? And then once I'm in the industry, let's just say I want the United States, and then what I can do is all of these people are in my demographic area. And so I can invite, as you see, that's 95. So you see how, and I can invite. Now I'm doing a demographic search, but if they accept the invite, they've moved themselves from demographic to psychographic. Does that make sense? Does that make sense, everybody? So that is what you can, and by the way, if I invite Kelly to my event, she can invite 1,000 people. If I invite someone else, they can invite 1,000 people. If you have a team of 3 people, you can invite 1,000 people each. All right. Now, just so you know, they have to be first-degree connections. All right. So growing prospect list with polls. Let me drill down on the point I just made for you so you can understand and how it works. Okay. So all of these people have taken my poll. All right. And so I'm responding to them. Some were connected or some weren't connected, meaning they weren't a first-degree connection. That's when they're connected to you, first-degree connection. They're a second-degree, a third-degree connection, okay? Meaning not connected. It's like Facebook friends is a first-degree connection, okay? So I'm just sending, excellent. Oh, here I sent them, thanks for participating in my poll. You responded with blank. I'm hosting a weekly masterclass series that provides strategies to help you. Are you against an invitation for the masterclass? If not, so I'm interested. So what do? I send them to my link that goes to my landing page, which gets them registered for the event. So if you see, these are all people who have responded to the poll and said yes. I mean, it goes on and on and on and on. All right. Are you guys starting to understand the power of events and getting an audience to the events? Okay. So let's drill down on psychographic so I can make this point a little bit more clear and provide some more clarity. We talked about demographics, target market, the decision maker, whoever that might be, founder, certain size company in a geographic area in a certain industry. 3% or less are ready to make buying decisions. Psychographic, they have all the demographics, but they're saying, I have a problem that you specifically can solve. Okay. So they're part of the demographic, but they're also psychographic. Does that make sense? So think about this. I'm going to go back to the event page. And this is an example of a LinkedIn Live video, by the way. So on this LinkedIn Live, I had 43 people who either accepted the invite or they clicked the button and said, I want to attend. Now, out of people that say that, how many people show up? Is it going to be 100%? Absolutely not. Okay. But no matter if they show up or they don't, I have a psychographic prospect list of people that are in my demographic and psychographic list. Okay. I know I'm being redundant on this on purpose. And so I can message all of these people who showed up to the event that are in my demographics and psychographics and say, thanks for attending my event. I got some good feedback and I got some feedback with some questions. What was your greatest takeaway? Or what would you like to see different? It's about engaging people in conversation. And if people didn't show up to the event, they'll say, I didn't show up. And so I say, no worries. Was there something you're hoping to get out of the event? And they say, yeah, well, I was kind of looking to learn how to, well, in this case was how to not be ghosted or how to deal with people when they ghost me. Okay. It's very easy to seamlessly schedule meetings after the event by going to the psychographic prospect list that you just created because they accepted the invite or they went to the event because of the post. Okay. Now, with the LinkedIn events, I want to give you an understanding of how to utilize LinkedIn events. Now, the audio events are different than what I'm going to explain right now. This is going to be for a video if you're doing a LinkedIn Live video. Go an inch wide and a mile deep. Let me explain this. I had a mentor, his name's Russ. When I first started my business in 2016, and he said, Chaz, don't give people too much information or they'll take it and they'll never speak to you again because you gave them too much. That's a bunch of bunk. Okay. If you don't give people value, I even hate that word. It gets overused. If you don't give information to people that's practical, that they could utilize, that helps them do something right then and there, they get that aha moment, you're not giving information. People are not going to see you as an authority. So you focus on one area, you go a mile deep so people know and understand that you're an authority, and that builds confidence. That establishes you as an authority. Typical times with LinkedIn Lives, 20 minutes or so. You can go longer, but that's typically that. If you do like a Zoom like this, like an hour, that's more like a master class, you can do it longer. And then as far as the Q&A sessions, that is something that it's a skill set you learn on demand by acting. Okay. So audio versus video. Audio is, I used to do 2 LinkedIn Lives every week. Now I do 2 audio events every week. And I do like 1 LinkedIn Live, meaning video event. Why? Because I engage with people live. They ask me questions. And just like we have a Q&A session right after this, when people ask you questions live on the spot, it's not about putting out content. that you think through, that you edit, that you make, and it's not perfect, but if people see a certain side of you, people see the real side of you when you're there live and people are asking you difficult questions. That's where people see you for who you are. So that's why I like the audio versus the video. So my point to you all is create a lake, get in the lake, and start fishing with the right bait. Okay. Events is the lake you want to be in. And when you do this, and you do this consistently, you'll build an audience that knows you, likes you, trusts you, and sees you as an authority. And that's a powerful combination. And let me end with this part of this masterclass with this. It's so important that you are you. It's like, yeah, that makes sense, Chaz. That's common sense. It may sound like common sense, but a lot of people try to get information from a mentor, and not only do they take the information, the strategy, and the tactics, they try to act like them. Big mistake. You being you will attract the exact right people to you and repel the wrong ones. If you're being you and there's certain people like, it's like, no, you need a strategy and you need a tactic, and we just work through the behaviors and your attitude and all that. Yes, you need to work on those and constantly get better. You will never rise above the level of your skill set. But at the foundation for your success is you being you will attract the exact right people and repel the wrong ones. So get an event. I'm going to have a challenge to each of you out here. Put a Y in the chat. Put an event or schedule an event and do one in the next 2 weeks. Okay. Seriously. Decisiveness is one of the traits of billionaires. They act and decide, and they understanding clarity comes from executing on your thoughts, on your ideas. Act on your thoughts, act on your ideas. And I just given you some practical ways to do that. Okay. So Q&A session is coming soon. So hopefully you have some questions for me. I enjoy these. As I said, this is what I do on the Q&A sessions every week. But before I get to this, I have a complimentary offer for you all. If you're interested, put a Y in the chat. If you're not interested, I will not talk about my offer. Okay. A Y, Andrew, thank you. It's great to see you guys networking here too, putting your links in there. That's awesome. That's part of what this, okay, yes. Okay. We have enough. All right. Let me just give you some background. I've worked with hundreds. Kelly was alluding to this earlier. This is why I do what I do. I was just getting choked up here thinking about Holly. You may have heard Simon Sinek's book, Start With Why. And if you don't know your why, it's okay. But you need to get and understand why you do what you do. My why, I don't know why I'm getting choked up all of a sudden, Kelly. My why, if you go all the way back to Ken Upton, if you were here at the beginning, Ken Upton said, you can be. Why did those 3 words change my life? Because I never really saw myself as having much potential. And here's a mentor, kind of a father figure in my life saying, you can be. And because of that, I didn't realize it at the time. It's taken like 25 plus years. My why is to help you, is to help Holly, Kelly, to see your potential and help you realize it. And so this is why I do what I do, to help people see their potential and help them realize it. So I highlighted some of the interesting things here. She's talking about one thing she knew she didn't want to do is she didn't want to lead with selling. And so she talked about my great job laying out simple, repeatable process that actually led to multiple clients for her in a short period of time. Okay, Mark. Mark has an extremely successful business now, and he started his business with me. He had, within 3 weeks, he was enrolling clients. And as you see at the bottom there, he's seeing daily gains through working with him. He has a 7-figure business now, and he was under 5K a month when he first started with me. So John, this was just early on. I was able to get, so here, before starting with Chaz, I did not have a lead for almost 2 months. Lead, target market, decision maker, see you as an authority, told you about a problem I have. That's a real lead, okay? I was able to get 4 new leads within a week after starting. Amazing. You have to put in the work, yes. And as long as you follow a step-by-step process for your business, you'll be in good hands. You will be. I'll take care of you. And then Rex, great guy. This guy is an expert in his field, and he was on LinkedIn. He wasn't getting results, okay? I was successful at building followers, but clueless in how to find people who actually wanted to do business with me. Spoiler alert, I paid back my investment 5 times before I finished my coaching session with Chaz. And there's a video on my page that says it's 10 times, and this was after completing his 10-time ROI. All right. So sales and marketing analysis. Here's my complimentary offer to you. I will, in the course of about an hour, I will analyze your sales process and your marketing strategy. And if I have confidence that I can help you, okay, I don't know you. Typically, I have a meeting before, but I'm just going directly in this because I want to make this complimentary and give you some value. If I believe I can help you, then I can lay out a step-by-step process to get you from where you are to where you want to go. This is a $500 value. Even if we don't work together, you'll get clarity like you haven't had in a very, very long time. So if I'm going to take, let's see, 4 people, the first 4 people that schedule this, Kelly, if you will put the link in the chat, I appreciate that.
It's
and
there.
Okay. So let me tell you something about scheduling on this link. You'll schedule, you'll put in, your phone number, whatnot. This will be a Zoom meeting. And after you fill the information and you schedule the event, a form will pop up. Very important. It will pop up pretty quick. Fill out that information. Okay. It will take you less than 5 minutes. That filling out the form will help guide and direct our conversation. It will help it be more succinct. And when I get the form, I'll do a follow-up email. It'll be a personal video message from me to you, prepping you for our meeting. So, did you put the link in the chat, Kelly?
Yes.
All right. Thank you. Yeah. So schedule that, and you might want to put it in a couple times because people are putting their links in here. My chat won't copy. So there you go. All right. So I hope to talk to you, and we'll do a sales and marketing analysis. You don't see the link.
Can you see it?
Now you're posting it to the panelists. That's why.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Everyone, there we go.
There we go. Okay. Now it's in the chat. It's like Tatiana, Kelly, and I could schedule the meeting, but you could not. I'm like, Kelly, man, why didn't anyone schedule a meeting? I'm disappointed. I was looking to help some people. All right. Joe, thank you so much. And just so you know, I saw your comment before. Joe, you're the pet wellness, and I saw something about coach there before. I have a CFO, not what you think, chief fun officer. It's my dog, okay? She barks at me, and we go out and play a couple times a day. That's why I call her my CFO, chief fun officer. All right, so schedule that, and I look forward to the sales and marketing analysis. Now, while you guys are scheduling the meeting, does anybody have any questions about what I talked about?
There's a couple in here, Chaz, we can get started with. Brian would like to know, can you invite people who follow you but are not first connections on LinkedIn? We were talking about the 1,000 people.
Yes. No. So you can't with the invite that I showed you from the event page. Was that Brian, did you say?
Yes.
Brian, that's a great question. You can't, but if you are incorporating polls, then you can bring in some of those people who may be following you or aren't following you. And the reason why I do polls is I continually increase my followers and continually increase my connections with people who actually are in need of my service. So great question.
Okay. Where are these functions available on LinkedIn? Do you have to buy one of their specific solutions?
Yeah, that's a great question. So let me just go back to the slide here. Well, I could just go here. Yeah. So on events, okay, if I go to my event page, okay, this event already happened. Let me show you one that's fresh here. Hold on a second. On the event page, it's right there. So this one is happening next Tuesday. And so if you go to the share button, see invite, this is where you can invite people. And it gives you, industry, school, current company, locations. This is where you can go. I personally, I have a VA do this with the people who are responding to my poll. Not only did they get the invite with the link that they opt in, she also invites them by putting in their name because we've qualified them. They're a qualified lead, and she'll type the name in there, and it will pop up. Okay, great question. Any others? I saw one in the chat here.
How can I draw an audience when I have no credible background to what I want to provide? I have an idea for my self-starter, but didn't go to school for my education. I learned through life experiences. What advice could you give me when I don't look like a lead yet?
You don't look like a what? Yet?
Well, an expert. She said a lead,
Okay.
But a leader, I guess, in her.
Okay, yeah. Well, first of all,
authority.
Don't let a college education knock you down. Okay. I quit college because I want to get my real estate license. Okay. So, I mean, Kelly has like 5,000 degrees and I respect her for that. And she has a lot of experience. If you have experience in your background, you know what you need to do is you need to start putting content and you need to start documenting your journey. Okay. There's nothing like a lot of people say, Chaz, what's the secret for this? How do I get this? And there's no like super quick way when you haven't started a business yet. The best thing to do is execute on your thoughts and ideas. The more you execute on your thoughts and ideas, the more clarity you get. One of the things that I can say is for everyone out here. So this is like a value proposition. You need to think about what an offer is. As a matter of fact, I'll just show you something here. Get this book. Okay, it's not my book. It will talk to you about creating an offer. Alex Hormozy, if you're not following him, you should be. He'll talk to you about how to create a $100 million offer. It doesn't mean people pay you $100 million for your offer. It's multiple people for your offer. This will give you step-by-step direction to how to do that. Okay.
Question by Gerald. What % of LinkedIn event registrants actually show up? If I have 500 RSVPs, how many will come?
Yeah, great question. So if you're on LinkedIn and let's say you have, 1,500 connections and you invite 500 of them, do they know you? Okay. A lot of this just goes to common sense. If you're not on LinkedIn and you invite people, it's like, who is this guy? So content is important. So you're building confidence in their minds. So if you have a content strategy and you're active on there, it's going to be significantly higher. If you're actively engaged on LinkedIn, you should have somewhere between 5 to 10%. If you're not, it'll be less than that. Okay, significantly less. All right, you may be thinking to yourself, hey, that looks good, Chaz. I'm going to try that. I got it from here. Or there may be some of you that think, you know what? I'd like to have more help, and I'd like you to analyze my sales process and marketing strategy using TTABS. It took me a while to succinctly be able to use this to identify the problem and solve it instantaneously, well, within 20 minutes or less. Go to my LinkedIn profile, 2 inches below my profile picture, you can see a link there. You can schedule a 20-minute sales and marketing analysis, and I look forward to talking with you, or just send me a direct message. If we're not connected yet on LinkedIn, send me a DM, a connection request, follow me, and I hope to see you there.